Boom. Hey guys, Coach Ben Lee here, checking in day 28. 2 more days to go after this one before we finish up 30 days of epic knowledge of how to lean your legs out and how to get fantastically good looking. Alright, so we covered before in day 26, day 27, a bit about basal metabolic rate, a bit about training and things like that. So now, talk about a bit of dietary kind of stuff now. We've spoken a lot over the last 30 days about different pieces, and I've kind of twisted and turned some of the education that I was going to put out. And so, like I've seen one of my buddies, he put out a post. Big shout out to you, Pete Tansley, about what diet's best. So I thought I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, Pete. And reason being is we've got different body types, okay, guys? So we've got classical ecto, meso, and endomorphs. Now, when we've got these body frames, classically, the way that those bodies operate is there's no clear cut these days because we've got so many factors that sort of interrupt things. Now, I'll give you a prime example. So myself, right, guys, growing up as a kid, I was an ectomorph. I was skinny. I would eat everything and anything and never put on any weight. Once I injured my back and I was still going to the gym, sorry, I finished going to the gym because I injured my back. I was still eating like I had a metabolism of like a 16-year-old kid, and this is the age about 22. So I put on about 8 kilos. I went from like a size 30 shorts, if people know what that is, almost blew out to like a size 36, and that's when I decided, you know what, I really need to do something about this. So what I've done there is I've gone and I've shifted my body type through from what we say like to an endomorph, a mesomorph, where I would be sort of fairly muscular for my build, and then gone down the route of an endomorph where I'm not managing carbs at all, and so I've done a bit of damage there. So to get myself back, like I've had to go through a series of processes to try and get myself back to sitting under 10%, so that the way that my body utilizes carbs, or uses that pathway that it wants to use carbs again, is what I've been after. And so it's something that I implement with all my clients as well. So when we sit down and we do a consultation, asking them, what's your family history like? What was it like when you grew up? Like I was talking to one of my clients this morning about her diet when she was growing up. She's a really fussy eater. And so, and I mean like really fussy, never used to eat any fruits, any veggies, anything like that. And so that's really impacted on her structural development as she's growing older. So now as she's in the gym, she's finding it very hard and difficult to get stronger because of her body wasn't given the nutrients while she was growing up. She really struggles because her body wasn't given the nutrients when she was growing up. Her body has then developed in a way it's not very strong. Okay, so it's very important for the mums out there. Make sure if your kids don't eat these foods, you really need to make sure they do eat these foods. Okay, because these are the kind of issues that are going to come up later in life, where someone's got to go and spend, $150 to go and see my buddy Paul Nash at a Go To Human Performance to try and get tweaked, and so that they can not be in pain when they're working out and things. But I digress. So when I'm talking about history and things like that, guys, I'm like, looking like, have you been overweight for 10 years? Have you yo-yoed up and down? Because all these things are going to affect, your metabolism. They're going to affect the way the dietary strategies that we're going to implement. We also want to know, like, where's your education when it comes to whole foods, clean foods, calories and things like that. This is going to help us really tune in your diet, okay? So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that we all have classically what we've grown up with is a certain body type, okay? And with that body type, what we want to try and do is get ourselves back to that body type. Okay, so if you were relatively lean growing up as a kid, then and you've been lazy, you've been eating a lot of carbs, the way that your body processes carbs and uses the pathways that it wants to use those foods is changed. Okay, so we need to bring it back. Now, even if you were a kid growing up and you were a bit chubbier and things like that, there's still hope for you, okay? Because we all have the same processes in our body. We just have to adapt your diet, okay, to get you there. So it just means a little bit harder work, more than some. Okay, so if you've always been overweight, then it's quite possibly that the carbs that you have in your diet or the macros that you have for your diet are going to be a lot different, okay, to what someone is that's of an ectomorph build. So we really want to get on top of that. But to get on top of that, before we can even look at getting to that kind of stuff, first we have to decrease inflammation. Okay, so by cutting out all the processed foods, getting on our 30-day weight loss challenge, and cutting out processed dairy foods, listening to our body, trying to find out reactive foods, get ourselves at a point where we're sitting sort of, for guys, we're sitting at around maybe 12 to 10%. Okay, and then girls, we're getting into that 15, 18% range. And we've got a bit more control over our diet. We've got a better mindset when it comes to putting in, because we're seeing the results as well. And this is when we can start to get really tricky, and we start to get a little bit geeky with the calories, our macros, our cycling, and this is when we start to really fine tune our diet and get us back to that position that we were as a kid, or get us back to the position that we want to be in. Okay, so that our bodies are using and utilizing the nutrients that we're putting in. Okay, so to really maximize our gains in the gym, so that we can look fantastic all year round. Because we don't always want to be in a negative deficit. Okay, because we don't want to have to be stressing about food for the rest of our life. So this is why, like, when the people ask what diet's best, like, there is no best diet, because each person is individual. You've got different biochemistry makeup. You've got different way that your body wants to utilize carbs and things like that. So it's very complicated to a certain degree, but we also want to make sure that the basics are down pat. So a paleo diet's fantastic because it incorporates whole foods, things like that. If it fits your macros, it's fantastic. If you're at a position where your body can be in that position that it can have processed foods or can work in with these sorts of things. But first and foremost, like, getting the basic foundations down pat with good whole food nutrition, making sure we're getting enough protein in to support recovery, to support our immune system, making sure we're getting enough leafy veg in. Like, I had one of the boys come in the other week, he's got gout, eating too much protein, not enough green veg. Okay, so just these simple things, guys, that I keep talking about over and over and over again is what you want to implement. So once you come in and we do a consultation, we get you ready, these are the things that we're looking at. So I'd really like to give you a broader view of, yeah, we're going to help you lose that weight, but this is the cool stuff that we get you to do. Like, we get you to eat more, so that we're slowly pushing that calorie ceiling up higher and higher and higher, so that when you do go away on holidays or things like that, you can enjoy the holiday. It's not going to negatively impact on your body. So just to wrap it up, guys, so there's no diet that's best. Okay, first and foremost, nutrition. Let's keep it simple. Okay, let's get the body fat down. Let's bring down inflammation from the body, so cutting out processed foods, cutting out reactive foods, decreasing the stress on the body. Secondly, let's start getting our protein in that we need to get in. Let's start getting regular meals in according to what our schedule is like. So when I say regular meals, if you're going to get 3 meals in a day, that's fine. We just make those 3 meals be enough calories for you. Okay, if you can get 4 meals in, which I think is best, then that's perfect as well. Okay, then once we get that body fat down and we're being consistent with our diet, then we get to start to work in a different model when we start to use either calorie cycling for the girls, or carb backloading for the guys, or carb cycling for the guys. Okay, and then we can start to implement strategies after that with, if it fits your macros kind of stuff, so that we can have a bit more dietary relief and we're not so stringent. Okay, and so we don't set in with restriction mindset. So we've got a plan here, guys, for 6 to 12 months, depending on how far back you are. So if you're 10, 15 kilos overweight, then yeah, it's maybe going to take a little bit longer. If you've been overweight for a long time, or you've been overweight for your whole life, then the strategies that we're going to take in place, it's going to take a while, but we will get you there. We promise that. Alright, guys, so I hope that gave you a bit more of an idea of the possibilities, okay, when it comes to diet and when it comes to seeing results, and sort of start to get you thinking a little bit more out the box about what you can do and what's possible. Okay, that it doesn't always have to be just this. Okay, there's no best way. It's the way that's going to get you there. Okay, according to your body type and according to your work and your life schedule and according to your training schedule. Okay, so all these methods have to come in. We roll them all into one, and we slowly work with you kind of like a nutrition coaching, as we call it, to get you there. All right, guys. So I hope you're loving the content. We'll check in next week, okay, for day 29. Peace out.